This man is unstoppable. That was the title of our last video when we have covered an amazing gameplay by Arjun Erigaisi against Rauf Mamedov from the Chess Olympiad in 2024. At that point, Arjun had already an incredible performance. Arjun had 5 wins out of the first 5 games, and yesterday Arjun won another game, which is even crazier. Now Arjun has 6 wins out of the first 6 rounds that he's played, and this is really an incredible, immortal performance. It's almost like watching Magnus Carlsen or Bobby Fischer in their best days. So also with the 6 wins in this event, Arjun gained now many rating points. Look at this, he gained 13 rating points already. He's now the 4th rated chess player in the world. Who knows, if he continues to play like this, I think he'll be for sure in the 2800 rating club. So I wish him all of the best. He's playing really awesome chess. What I like about Arjun's style is that, first of all, he's playing an amazing positional chess. He's playing, first of all, solid openings. He's getting out of the openings in a good way, and then when time, he strikes with some tactics. I think his games are really instructive. If you're bothered maybe by some openings, you can check out really the lines, the variations, the sidelines by Arjun. I think you could have a great preparation in openings and, of course, in sidelines of openings. And I watched also an interesting interview with Arjun Erigaisi where he was asked why he's not playing on the first board, because look at this, when we watch now this rating list, he's actually the best rated Indian player. But he mentioned very an interesting idea that it was their decision as a team that they'll play like this because Arjun has great results against these players that are below 2700 rating points, and Praggnanandhaa and Gukesh have played more times against top elite GMs. So I think it was a huge decision by the team to maybe put Arjun on the third board for Team India. But I think it was a great idea, and sometimes, you know, we are guided just by our own interests, because you know, Arjun could have said, okay, why should I play on the third board? I'm the best rated chess player, but he played, I think, here for the team. He said like this, and I think it was a great sportsmanship by him to not make any tensions about it. He's playing for a team. They want, of course, to win the Chess Olympiad, and who cares who's playing on the first, second, or third board? They're playing really great chess, and they have now great chances to win the whole thing. Team India and now Team Vietnam are the only teams that have now 6 wins out of the first 6 rounds. So they'll play now this, I would say, super final in order to get the throne of this amazing Chess Olympiad in 2024. So I've sorted out now an amazing game here played by Aleksandar Indjic from Serbia against Arjun Erigaisi. This was the match from the 4th round. In my opinion, again, a really instructive game that I wanted to simply share with you. A really cool reverse berry attack idea here you see by Arjun Erigaisi. Really great opening theory again, but also again great tactics in the middle game and also in the end game stage. You know the result of this game because I've already told you Arjun Erigaisi won all of his games, so that's why I decided to flip the board a little bit and show you now a little bit the game from Black's perspective. Really the coolest ideas, the coolest strategic concepts of this opening that Arjun Erigaisi will now play. So let's dive now into the game. Enjoy really in a beautiful gameplay by Arjun with the white pieces here. Aleksandar Indjic opened with the move knight to f3 d5. We have now the king's Indian attack by white, knight to c6. Now after move d4, bishop to f5, going into similar ideas like in the reverse now berry attack. If you're familiar with the berry attack against the king's Indian defense, here Arjun is playing in the reverse way. You have now already some problems around the square c2. You're pretty much forced to play knight to a3. And the issue a little bit for white is here, okay, so far you are protecting the pawn on c2, but the knight is a little bit misplaced, is of course on the edge of the board. You will eventually kick away black's knight from b4, but now the knight has to find again new paths in order to get into the game. Arjun continues with development. Now comes this idea. Now after knight to c6, there is also this positional threat to play simply bishop takes a3 and then mess up the structure, and then go maybe if b takes a3 happens, then you would have here many weaknesses, and then maybe to hop with the knight here on an amazing square c4. We have now queen to b3. Arjun protects now this pawn, knight to h4. Bishop to e4, interesting idea now by Arjun, because if you play something like bishop to e4 and after d takes e4 castling, then actually black could go into a very interesting line like this. And when we watch now the minor pieces on the board, many pawns are on dark squares, and that's not good for the dark square bishop to have too many pawns on the squares that your bishop is covering. And now there are also several light square problems. Nothing dramatic, I think, is going on, but here black I think would find good ways with the knight into the game. And also we have to mention this knight is a little bit misplaced. It doesn't have so many great squares. You have to then hop on g2 and then maybe find some path for the knight in order to somehow activate it. So that's why after move f3, after bishop to e4, Aleksandar Indjic played now f3, bishop to g6, knight takes g6, and now h takes g6. But with the move f3, this bishop is blocked by its own pawn, and also we can notice there are now maybe even some dark square problems. The h file is open, so I think a decent compensation by Arjun, because he lost now the bishop pair, but he has now of course some attacking chances on the h file. We have now the move e4, great move by Aleksandar Indjic. He's going now for the open game because he has the bishops, and the bishops love, of course, the open battle, really the open sharp game. After move e4, knight to f6, bishop to g5, bishop to e7, Aleksandar Indjic took, remove now the defender of the square d5, and now after move e takes d5 and d takes d5, now comes, I would say, the first positional mistake here by Aleksandar Indjic. He played now the move knight to c2, and that's what I meant in the beginning. The knight on a3 is not so well placed, so that's why you have to find new opportunities for the knight. But maybe a slightly better choice would have been to play f4. Still, I would say an equal game for both sides. Nothing spectacular is going on. And probably in this sequence, bishop to a3 would happen, queen to a3, then after a couple of trades of queens, then knight to e7, and then black would eventually fix the structure with the move c6, would connect now these pawns. Maybe slightly easier to play with the black pieces because of the knight is a flexible piece, will eventually find its way into the game somehow. The knight will hop, the position is pretty static, there's not so much that can be done. But I think this move f4 should have been played here by Aleksandar Indjic, simply going for the fixed structure. Now from knight to c2, here Arjun Erigaisi noticed that the queen now is a little bit endangered, played now knight to a5, queen to b5, c6, the queen is attacked and the knight is protected. Again, the queen has to drop back, and now knight to c4, simply going for the weakness on b2. And you see now suddenly black is on the attacking side. The engine even likes more a little bit black's position, and from this point on Arjun is showing really great positional understanding. We have now b3, knight to d6, castling, king to f8. Again, a great move, I would say, by Arjun Erigaisi. He's trying to play king to g7, and then he has options. He will eventually secure his king, but he has at least some attacking chances on the h file, and the knight could come on f5, then also the queen could come on d6, or maybe the bishop on d6, and then we are attacking here really white structure on this side of the board. Knight to e1, now comes queen to a5, Arjun goes for the attacks now the c3 weakness, rook to c1, and now knight to f5. And I would say black is better here. As I said, very hard to play now this position for white. g4, if you play, then the knight will come here, you weaken further the dark square. So first of all, you have to tolerate such a great knight now on this amazing square where it's attacking now many squares, of course, in white camp. We have now the move b4 here by Aleksandar Indjic. We have queen to c7, and you see now really an amazing attacking formation here by Arjun. Has now really all of the pieces coordinated towards the dark squares in white's camp. We have now f4, a5, simply trying to here disconnect this pawn chain that white built here. a3, Aleksandar Indjic keeps the healthy structure here. Rook to e8, of course there is a threat of a discovered attack against the queen, so that's why queen to d2, knight to d6. Look at this, the knight is really flexible, will find some ways. So Arjun is not rushing, he's searching first of all for the best squares for his minor pieces. Knight to c2, f5, now he's searching for the e4 square. Great moves here, rook from f to e1, king to g7. We have now the rook connection, the last stage, of course, of the opening of there are the three stages of the opening. First of all, you develop minor pieces, then of course you secure the king by castling, and then you connect the rooks. Now finally the rooks are connected, and now Arjun has us a great attacking formation. And now after rook to e2, Aleksandar Indjic, I would say it's not a threat or something, but he has a certain idea to simplify the game now. He wants, of course, to trade off the rooks on the e file, and now Arjun says, no, I have a better position. I don't want to trade off anything here because I'm on the attacking side, and plays now rook to a8. He's not interested into any trades of pieces, because if the pieces are off the board, then the game becomes more and more simplified. Now after rook to a8, he's stretched now really White's defense. Now he's attacking the king side, but he's also attacking the queen side, so he has now really great flexibility all over the board. Rook to e1, we have bishop to f6, and rook to e2. Look at this, Aleksandar Indjic doesn't have good squares at all, doesn't have good attacking ideas. He's just repeating moves here on 8x b4. Now the a file is open, and now finally the rook is coming here on the a file. Great chess so far by Arjun Erigaisi. And what should you do here? You could maybe try queen to e1, maybe trying to do something again on the e file, but then look at the knight to b5. This one is weak. You're trying bishop to f3, rook to b2. This rook is finally coming into the game, and the good part is that the bishop on f6 is controlling the e7 square, so there's nothing that can be done actually here by White on the e file. You have maybe occupy the e file, but you cannot do anything here with this activity. So that's why here maybe this was the way to go, but here rook to e1 was played now by Aleksandar Indjic, even a worse move, because here Arjun simply continued with rook to a8. We have now rook to a1, and now queen to b6. Look at this. There are already some tensions here around the square d4 so far. White is holding the position, but we can really feel that the position could crack, that the position could explode here around the square d4. Rook from e to b1, now rook to a4, queen to c1, queen to a7. Nice battery here by Arjun Erigaisi. Rook takes a2, and now rook takes a2. And what should you do? Here there is a problem. You could maybe go for the trades of rooks here with the rook to h1, but then there is the problem of bishop to d4. Bishop to d4, c takes d4, then rook takes c2 will simply deflect now the queen from the defense of the rook, and you're simply getting destroyed here. So it's not working. You're collapsing here around the square d4. So as I said, that's now the huge issue in the game, because you're vulnerable here around the square. As I mentioned, you could simply crack. You could simply collapse here on this side of the board. So even if you try, I don't know, maybe something like king to h1, if you don't want to compete against this rook on the a file, then queen to a4, White is challenged like this. Black will simply continue the attack. Then we attack this weakness here on c3. You have to defend it. Then we play g5, and then when the bishop is coming into the game, I would say a really unpleasant position then for White to handle. So the Stockfish engine evaluates this position as +2 in Black's favor, which is, I would say, even completely winning. So here after rook to a2, even king to h1 wasn't played here by Aleksandar Indjic. He didn't even compete on the a file. Here Aleksandar Indjic tried a rook to b2, but now again a beautiful move here by Arjun Erigaisi. Knight to b5, hitting the weakness on c3. Even if you try now rook takes a2, this is not working because this pawn is hanging, and now we'll simply continue the pressure. Then you try something like this. Look at this, knight to c3, for instance, is working. Knight to c3, bishop to d4. Again, you're getting destroyed on dark squares. This position is simply collapsing again around the square d4. So that's why for knight to b5, here rook takes a2 wasn't Aleksandar Indjic's continuation. He tried rook to b3, which is not, again, a good continuation, because simply knight takes c3. Great move here by Arjun Erigaisi. Now he's destroying White's defense completely. We have now rook takes c3, and now bishop to d4. Anyway, look at this, knight takes d4, and now rook to a1. The game is over in this particular position. Aleksandar Indjic resigned. There is, of course, the queen is lost, and there's nothing that can be done. You can just, of course, continue to play somehow this game, but you will resign, of course, after a couple more moves. Even if you try here after, instead of this move knight to d4, if you try to escape it, then we'll simply pick up the rook, and again, Black gained the decisive material. So again, it's game over here for Aleksandar Indjic. So great game by Arjun Erigaisi. Really, first of all, as we have seen, First of all, calm, strategic, positional game, great opening theory, getting out of the opening, equalizing the game in the early stage of the opening, and then bam, striking with some tactics. The position collapsed here around the square d4. So great game. Congratulations to Arjun for playing really amazing chess in this event. As I said, he has now 6 wins out of first 6 games, and tomorrow Team India is playing against Team Vietnam for the first place of the Chess Olympiad in 2024. But still 3 rounds more will be played, so even if something happens tomorrow, nothing will change. We'll see, of course, this amazing chess event till the end. So okay, I hope that you enjoyed this game. I really enjoyed it a lot. Interesting ideas here of, I would say, the reversed berry attack that Arjun Erigaisi showed here. If you want to see the other game that we have covered by this beautiful top GM, check out here the amazing gameplay between Arjun and Rauf Mamedov. And if you like this content, hit the subscribe button. See you soon with some more videos, and what do we say in the end? Chess is the best, of course.